Hey all, this is Joe with the community engagement team here at Rad Power Bikes. The cool thing about electric bikes is that you can ride them year-round. All the components are designed to be water resistant and they drain from top down to dry off after each ride. So for this edition, I want to talk about some tips and best practices to care for your bike after a wet ride for optimal performance for years to come. First, let's review some general winter riding tips. Wet, snowy, or icy conditions all impair traction and visibility for both the cyclists and other vehicles sharing the road. You're going to experience a little bit less braking power with your brakes, a little less traction with your tires, and even a little less grip from your shoes to the pedals. You want to keep these all in mind and proceed with extra caution to avoid a fall and stay as safe as possible. While e-bikes are designed for rain riding, you do want to avoid very large puddles, streams, or even extremely heavy rain. You never want to submerge your bike in water or liquids because this could create damage or a hazardous condition to the electronic components. Additionally, if you are going to be going off-road riding or wet weather riding, it's always a good idea to consult a local bike mechanic to make sure that your bike is tuned up and in tip-top shape for the conditions. Above all else, you want to let the bike drain and dry after a wet ride. You don't always have the luxury of parking in a warm, dry environment, but the longer that the rain is on and in your bike, the more it's going to affect it. When riding in rain, you want to introduce a more regular maintenance schedule to make sure all your components are avoiding rust and corrosion and safe to operate year-round. If you have the time, it's best to let the bike dry out completely before cleaning it. I'm a little low on time today, so I'm going to clean it while it's wet. I'll use a brush to scrub the frame and get the large sections of dirt and grit off of the bike. And then I'll switch to a wetted rag with chain cleaner. And this will avoid the tendency of heavy liquid detergent to degrade some of the lubricants that we have on the bike and get contamination to areas that you don't want, such as your brake rotors and brake pads. To maintain your chain, you're going to want to use a wet chain lubricant. These are going to be more viscous and sticky lubricants that will actually do a better job of preventing water spray and the grit that's carried with water from getting into the nooks and crannies of your chain. You also want to check your tires a little bit more regularly in wet conditions. The rain can bring glass and other debris onto the pathway. While doing an inspection, look for any items that may be a cause for concern. If you remove an item, depending on the extent of the size, may not be an issue, but if you can see the threads or casings of the tire, you're actually going to want to replace the tire. The electrical components of our bikes, the display, throttle, battery, and motor, are all designed to work well in wet conditions. You shouldn't use our bikes in temperatures that drop beneath -4 degrees Fahrenheit. It's important to store your bike in a dry environment that's above freezing temperatures. If that's not possible, we're going to want to remove the battery and bring that inside. Hopefully, these tips will be helpful to keep you riding year-round. Stay tuned for the next video. Ride Rad.